What is up, YouTube? Alright, I'll apologize for two things right now. A, it's in like vertical screen mode because the only way I could get this shot, since my tripod doesn't do a straight down angle, is actually like pretty much taping my phone to the top of the Ender 4. And the A8 is running, which is kind of loud. So if you hear that, that's why. Hopefully it picks me up more than the printer. But, alright. Board wiring for the Ender 4. I've had a couple of people approach me, both on YouTube and on Twitter, asking if I could do a little tutorial on how exactly it gets wired up. The layout comes on the SD card, but it's a little bit confusing, kind of, especially if you have the full upgrade version like I do, which has the filament runout sensor and the laser. So that's two more things you have to plug in. Also, I have not seen online the layout anywhere, so I will include a Dropbox link in the description with the full folder that comes with the Ender and a zip, so that if you accidentally delete it or lose it somehow, there's a resource, which I will be referring directly to that to remember how to do this. As you can see, after about 200 hours of printing already, there's quite a bit of dust already. As far as wire management goes on this, you have the fan, which sits like so if installed the same way the instructions, which doesn't leave you a whole lot of room for wiring in this area. So I will be running the stepper wiring across the top side of this post with a zip tie to hold them in place. Everything else I will be running down over to this side and then across with a zip tie here to hold everything there. It risks a little bit of dirty noise with the steppers or end stop sensors. I haven't experienced any problem with it yet doing so. Other than that, it runs along this axis, or the side rail here, and then up the back. Alright, wiring. Start with the things that are hardest to get to as you progress. So we will start with this connector here, which I kind of wish was a separate plug, much like the heat bed plug is, or the heat bed and the thermistor, or the hot end, both are. I'll probably have to reposition this a little bit to get this in. Negative is the outside. Little screwdriver. Good tight. This kit does actually come with a pretty nice set of wiring as for amp to gauge ratio. It's a 24 volt system. These are 16 gauge wires. Okay, so that is the mains power. Now if we work across, the next thing that will be in the lineup is this here, which is heated bed and the hot end. That just plugs in. These actually don't have a polarity, so you just plug them in there. And then we have the hotbed thermistor, which I'll just run through the connections here real quickly. You have the X motor, Y motor, Z motor, extruder. This is fan 1, 2, and 3. Fan 1 is fan 1 is the LED, which I have mounted up on the front top rail of the frame. Fan 2 is the nozzle fan, which would be the fan that keeps the heat break cold. And fan 3 here is the motherboard fan. If you want to add a part cooling fan, you have to sacrifice the LED on fan 1 here. So we will work on that wiring. So we have the LED here. Or no, this one is the y-axis. LED is this guy, which of course is kind of short. Hopefully this doesn't go out of frame here. Still many wires. Alright, we're going to lose the webcam for a moment. Get the excess wires out of the way here. Oh, shouldn't need that anymore. All right, so we have those out of the way. Is I'll do that one later. It's not important right this moment. Fan 2 is nozzle cooling fan, which comes down bundled with the hot end and heated bed wire, heated bed thermistor, that is your X. As I said, these will all route this side of this post. Okay, we have extruder motors, which will be going across the top. X. Y. Z. And extruder. Slack here. Since that's the only wiring going across the top, This can get zip tied out of the way right now. Okay, that is that. Now we'll work from inside out. Now on the schematic here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the LCD, which is easy to do as they have matching markings. We have EXP1, EXP2. They match up with markings on the LCD wiring. Now there is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, which is the fence. So we will just go best order we can here without blocking ourselves off to access without trying to reach around other wires. Which in this case, the easiest will be to work from bottom up, not this way. So the motherboard fan, if I can do this without getting in the way also. Go into the last fan slot here. Yours have been done as the wires don't want to twist. There we go. There's a motherboard fan. This one here, 9, is a 12 volt. I am unsure on what the pin designation is for this to be able to do an additional cooling fan off of it. For example, to be able to keep the LED here and running a fan here. So I'm not sure on there. I will ask one of the engineers to see if maybe he knows what the pin allocation for that would be. Although it's a locked firmware still currently. So being able to assign it outside of possibly G code would be difficult. Alright, 8 here is the filament sensor. Which is this wire here. Cut it, zip tie back here. Here, I didn't catch them all. There we go. That'll give me a little more work. Alright. Filament sensor wire round. Personally, I haven't had any luck with this filament sensor. the laser wire goes into this fan port here. That should leave just axis locations and thermistors. Try to match which way they are coming out of the rack there. Okay, so 5, 6, and 7 are limit switches. We are at 5, 6, and 7, X, Y, and Z. X here. Is Y. For Z, it is my little bed level sensor. Which leaves thermistors. Which I'm also going to bend. Probably against my better judgment, but just for continuity. There. And we have the heat bed thermistor. All that's left is 1 and 2. 1 is hotbed, 2 is the thermistor, hot end. This one's easier to get to. Hot end. And a heated bed. Okay. Which leaves me with just the motherboard fan to plug in there. Or not the motherboard fan, the LED to plug in to port 1 there. Oh, does it die? As you saw in the beginning of this, I already had the power switch plugged in. Wanted to make sure that had enough length to go from this point here to its port over here. Make sure nothing is getting pulled too tightly. Okay, now once it goes back on the frame, I'm going to before I get that far, we have the desk there. It does not move very easily. Just putting these on once they are against the frame like so would be kind of difficult. We have, let's see which way are these routed. XP1, which is the top. 2, which is bottom. So, cable management's about as clean as you're gonna get for that anyway. But yeah, now it is just a matter of putting this up against its side into its mounting location and connecting the LED wire here to its one port right there, which ought to be fun at this point. Well, yeah, that is how the Ender 4 is wired up. Any questions, hit me up. Stock, everything from me came correctly at right voltages, at least it appeared to be. I haven't had any problems with it in over 200 hours printing now. So, yeah. Like the video, like, subscribe, comment, check out my Patreon. Keep stuff like this coming in. Thanks. Later.